Chapter 4. Part 1. It's certainly one of the most criticized by his detractors, we are not going to deny. That caused great damage, but we have to understand all that was at stake during battle. Arian's life. Author, Salmaron Priestess. They spent some time studying what would be the ideal place to hold the great battle. In the end they decided that the best thing for their interests would be to fight on the Hill of Order, a mountain that dominated the plains of the interior of Domemba, easy to observe from afar and in case of defeat would allow them a quick escape. With just enough margin to be able to organize resistance in the strongholds of the kingdom, although they knew that if they fell on the Hill of Burning it would only be a matter of time before the kingdom of Domemba succumbed to the clutches of the Alliance. The most complicated part of the plan is that they had to provoke the Alliance, so they were not at all cautious and camped on the hill with all the army that the League and the kingdom of Domemba were capable of mustering. They made it appear that they were planning an offensive on the northern border of Olbiana, a coup that the monarch of the Jewel of the South could not consent. They attacked certain towns in New Olbiana with light cavalry, causing more alarm than damage, but what they wanted was for the Alliance to take seriously the possibility of now being the ones to defend themselves. Not a week after the last attack, when scouts from the south reported that a large column was approaching, the Alliance had accepted the challenge, moving their huge and powerful army before them. Despite the fears, the Alliance could not prolong the war for much either. They knew they had numerical superiority and agreed to put aside their individual desires to focus on the final victory. This was demonstrated by the fact that for the first time Queen Lantania of Olbiana, the king of the dwarfs broke Black Gem, the king of Scythia, Tabe, from the Fourth Iron War nicknamed the Traitor, and General Adrian had met in person, apart from all the mercenaries they had hired and who had been mainly used as reinforcements for the weak army of Scythia. However, some companies had been used for missions in the rear, a decision that had angered them, since a mercenary from Almera always wanted to fight on the front line. The reality is that except in Scythia, mercenaries were frowned upon. Olbiana's generals despised them, they did not want to share the booty and fame with them, while the dwarfs who no longer willingly accepted the help of Olbiana's soldiers, much less that of the mercenaries. Quite sensibly, the command of the Alliance fell to General Adrian. The general had much more appreciation for mercenary force than the rest of the Alliance. It was money wasted if it was not used. General Adrian was looking above all for a personal triumph that would make him more famous in the Republic, since his plan to wipe out the palace of Domemba was thwarted by the arrival of the army of the League. Now he was looking for a great victory for his personal glory. So seeing the League's army stand on the Hill of Order, the general had his battle. He convinced the kings of the Alliance that a great decisive battle was the right thing to do, since they had a numerical advantage. Once the League is defeated, it would only be a matter of time before invading all of Domemba. To their desperation they were slow to advance, they waited for reinforcements from the dwarfs and Olbiana. At first Adrian was in a very bad mood, but the wait in the end was beneficial to his ego, as even a new manipulator of Republic volunteers arrived. Thanks to his biographer, a weekly serial, Caesala, recounted the exploits of the great general, was published every week. In the end he found himself with a formidable army of 70,000 units that would face at most 35,000 soldiers of the League. An almost certain victory. In the Alliance camp, morale was exultant. With the new reinforcements and the suicidal strategy of the League, the war was about to end, only the procedure of the decisive battle was missing. Such was the climate of victory that the kings were already discussing how to divide among themselves Domemba. The central focus of the discord were the very rich red mines. Olbiana wanted his share in the exploitation of the mine, something that the dwarfs in principle were not willing to give up. It was a matter of pride to own those mines. Adrian was also sure of victory. He spent the afternoon before the battle writing the report to the Senate with his personal biographer, stressing above all how his strategy, courage and diplomacy were key in achieving the great victory. During the days leading up to the fight, Adrian noticed the presence of a young knight from Olbiana, named Samra Dustin, a member of Queen Lantiana's personal entourage. The crush was immediate. Adrian used all his influence and seduction with the young woman. As the atmosphere in the camp was almost festive the night before the fight, after dinner, he invited the young warrior to his tent. There they both celebrated the future victory with a night of passion. The general got up totally relaxed. Sex was the best way to start a fight while admiring the beautiful body of the young woman. It was the first time that the general felt something like love for someone. He even wished that he would not intervene in combat, but Samra Dustin, the firstborn of the Dustin house, protector of the queen, she wasn't a coward, she would be in battle protecting her queen. They kissed passionately before saying goodbye and agreed to see each other again in the evening at the victory dinner.